Welcome to this week's episode of Star Watch, which is a weekly astrological transit report. For those of you who are new, my name is Jane. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's coming up for us this week. I am very excited about the energy, actually. We've got some really cool transitions going on. First and foremost, we have Mercury stationing direct, okay, which means he's no longer going to be retrograde. He's going to start moving forwards again, and he's going to be coming through his post-shadow phase over the next couple of weeks. Now, as he does that, now remember, Mercury retrograde happened in between the North Node and Uranus. So there was just a lot of really ramped up energy going on here. It was also eclipse season. We also had the sun in here. So if for the past 2 weeks you just really haven't been yourself, you haven't been sleeping, maybe you haven't been eating as much as you normally eat, or maybe you've been eating too much, maybe you've been dreaming really crazy dreams, maybe you can't get your mind to turn off. There are a lot of reasons as to why, but this is the main culprit right here, okay? The point of all of this is to help our minds get comfortable in that realm of activity, okay? When I say activity, I don't mean just like stressing about tomorrow. I mean taking a creative idea and allowing your mind to really run with it, right? Whatever it is, whether it's something you have going on at work or a hobby or a business that you're building or whatever it is, and really kind of taking this kind of blossoming or blooming idea and really nurturing it, right? That's what Taurus is all about, nurturing these creative ideas, nurturing the beauty that is the essence of your own mind, and to not suppress and to not, ignore. One of the reasons why you might be feeling more anxious as opposed to excited, right? There's a very fine line there. If you're feeling anxious, it might be because you are not giving credence to the direction that your mind is wanting to go. And it is possible that where your mind is wanting to go is not always necessarily the most logical or rational. Maybe it doesn't pay the bills. Maybe it's not something that needs to be done tomorrow. Maybe there aren't people relying on you with it. And so it's easy to put it on the back burner or forget it or say, I'll do it later. It's so easy to do that. But that's not what the astrology is wanting you to do right now. It's not wanting you to back burner the things that your heart and your mind are really yearning for. So as the sun comes off of Uranus and it starts to make its way into Gemini, now that's not happening this week. We'll talk more about it next week, but just to prepare you, Mercury stations direct and starts coming closer to Uranus as the sun moves into Gemini. This energy is not going away. It's not just going to completely turn off. And with all this Cancerian energy here this week, it's going to be really hard to not feel what you're feeling. When it comes to what it is you want to put resources into, you're going to be like, I might not be able to explain it. I might not necessarily be able to justify it really, but this is just where my heart is taking me right now. Not to mention that Pluto, which is right here in Aquarius, is really asking us, well, not even asking us. It's like Pluto is like this dark force that comes from beyond, right? It comes from this inner working, the inner dark corners of our mind, and really pushes us forward. We don't really have a lot of control where Pluto is concerned. And he is wanting us to stretch beyond and beyond and beyond. But Aquarius is a very unique zodiac sign where, yes, it represents everything beyond, but it is limited. Like for example, let's say you have a creative idea, you want to write a book, and you want nothing more because this is where your mind is taking you and your heart is just like, oh, I really want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. And here's this dark force coming up and saying, you have to write this book, right? But then you have to go to work every day. You have to pay your bills, right? You have to take care of your kids. You can't just escape from the world. So the Aquarian energy certainly has its limitations, but this is also going to help pace us so that we don't completely abdicate responsibility for everything that needs to be done. Obviously, we're human beings. We still need to survive. So we don't completely abdicate responsibility, but we also don't let things just sit there and fester either. Aquarius demands that progress is made. So all of these factors combined, now you might just be in the beginning stages of something, your heart, like you've just had a seed planted. And maybe all you need to do with this little seed is just make sure it gets the sunlight that it needs, right? You just need to acknowledge that it's there. You just need to water it a little bit. Spend 1-2 hours a week doing it, whatever the case is. But you have to keep it alive. Maybe some of you are in those little itty bitty baby stages where your mind just plopped a new idea right into your lap here over the past couple of weeks with the eclipses and with all the Taurus activity and the Uranian and the Mercury retrograde activity. It just plopped that new little idea right into the middle of your mind. And it's time for you to really just say, you know what, it's in there, period. It's in there. And I don't think it's going to go away, and I can't ignore it, and I can't forget that it's there. So I think feeding it, right? Taurus is all about feeding and nutrients, right? Providing energy for the sake of life force, to really give it, because you don't know necessarily where that's going. Now, why am I saying this? Because Jupiter is coming into Taurus this week too, on the 16th. I'm very excited about this transit. You guys know I don't get that excited about that many transits. Once in a while I get all excited and all that, but honestly, really, Jupiter in Taurus is going to be a very interesting transit, because it immediately comes in. When it comes into Taurus, it's immediately going to come into this conjunction. Technically, it's already in conjunction with this North Node. So many people are asking themselves right now, like, what do I really want to do with my life? Where do I really want to go? How do I really want to see this end up? It's so, I just have to point out, this is not astrology related at all, but it is 4:30 in the afternoon. Normally the sun is like blazing hot right there. It is so dark outside that my security lights came on because there's such heavy cloud cover here in Mississippi. It just got really ominous really quick. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it's just like there's something brewing. It kind of feels like there's like a storm brewing here, right? Brewing here. So something is brewing. Something is being conjured up. And Jupiter coming into this conjunction here with the North Node says your life needs to go in a new direction. Now, you may not necessarily know exactly what that is, and that is a-okay. Like I say, you can't just completely shirk all responsibilities and walk away from the things that you need to do. Of course not. And I'm not advocating that you do that in any way, shape, or form. But I also don't want to see you close the door on what could potentially be one of the biggest life-changing decisions and life-changing moments, years of your life. Okay? Now, I get a lot of comments that say that they feel really stressed when astrologers say this type of thing because they feel like they have to do something. If you're in this place where you are content and you're feeling really good, you don't have to do anything. This is meant to be a really relaxed, natural, organic experience. Okay, this is not something that you have to do anything to make happen. It's just something that is going to happen. The North Node often ensures that we click. I always kind of envision it like a clock. And slowly but surely that second hand makes its way around and it will hit the 12 o'clock position, right? Eventually, every 12 hours, all three hands on an old analog clock, right? We got the minute hand, that hour hand, and that second hand. And eventually, all of those things will all come into alignment at 12 o'clock. And that's kind of what that North Node and South Node is. It's like where all the hands are exactly on that 12. And it doesn't happen all the time. It happens every day technically with a clock, but it's not as though it happens every second of every day. It's only every 12 hours. So it is something that is special. And so this Jupiter conjunct North Node is very special. So yes, you might be feeling called to expand your life, to expand your material world, to expand your creativity. A lot of creativity comes through Taurus with that Venus rulership. So if you are involved in the arts in any way, shape, or form, music, writing, actual art, singing, poetry, all that kind of thing, there can be really wonderful opportunities for you to indulge in those. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to make that your livelihood. Please do not misconstrue what I'm saying. It does not mean you have to quit your job and make that your livelihood. It just means that in order to feed your soul and to bring that sense of fulfillment and prosperity in your life, you're going to have to give energy to the things that your heart is calling you to do. Okay, and when you feel that sense of fulfillment, it is also quite likely that other areas of your life will start doing well, right? You start spending time, let's say you're a painter, you spend time by the river painting, doing something that you love where you can get lost in time, and then you go to work the next day with a higher vibration and an elevated spirit. You feel better, you interact better, you don't get annoyed as easily, you're more at peace. Right? It offers that beautiful balance. And for those of you who are looking to expand your skills and your talents and to learn new things, Jupiter in Taurus is going to be fantastic. Now, keep in mind that a lot of the things that you are aligning to over the next, well, this is happening this week. Technically, it's coming into Taurus, but Jupiter is going to be in here all year. So as Jupiter is in Taurus, what it's doing is it is supplementing that which is needed to fit the sense of identity that you created while Jupiter was in Aries throughout last year and then this year. There's a relationship here. Okay, they're not entirely disconnected. This is a pathway. You developed an identity. You expanded your sense of self. You started thinking of yourself in a new way. You started envisioning the way you wanted your life to go and who you needed to be in order to go in that way. And Taurus says, all right, well, let's make it happen. Okay, if we follow the planets around the zodiac, the sun or Jupiter or Venus or whatever, we start to understand that the planets are guiding us through this process of what I call holistic manifestation, where it elevates you in so many ways. It's a very balanced, year after year after year, it's a very balanced, elevated pathway of life. And it starts with Aries, where we develop a new concept, and then Taurus, where we start to feed that concept. And we start to learn what we need to learn in order to become that person. And we start to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. And then as we move on to Gemini, we start to develop new ideas and we expand and all that. But we'll get to that later when Jupiter comes into Gemini. But for now, just understand that what is happening, it's not accidental. It's happening because of who you said you wanted to be. Okay? So it is a beautiful week as long as you're paying attention to what's going on. And yes, there are a lot of feels. Saturn's still in Pisces. We have Venus now in Cancer with Mars. So with the Cancerian energy, there's a lot of intuitive pulling where you just, I don't know why, I just feel that it's right type of thing. That's pretty strong now as well. And lest we not forget that Saturn is here in this fairy tale realm of Pisces to ensure that we actually create a reality, Saturn, of the dream, right? So that the dream becomes real. So there's a lot of supporting astrological movements right now for making that dream life real. And the ideas and all of that are not accidental. They are here to guide you. Okay? All right, you guys. You guys know I love you. Have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.